You get off work on a Friday afternoon. Your friends call you and say that they're about to hit up happy hour and proceed to, a night spot that's famous for being open until the crack of dawn. And then there's a birthday cookout at a friend's crib next Saturday. And the day after that, there's a brunch that's scheduled. But you have a 4-year-old son at home. Do you skip all three events? Attend one, attend them all? I mean, how much weight does being a parent carry when you want to do some of the things you used to do prior to becoming one? Do you want to party or do you want to parent? We'll discuss that and more on this episode of the Talk to Q radio show. No experts, just opinions. Buckle up.
T2Q Radio.
Hey, what up, Q? What up, Radio World?
What's going on, people? I want to welcome all of you to another edition of the Talk to Q radio show. My name is Quincy, and this is my show. And I'm broadcasting live from the south side of the T2Q Man Cave. It is Tuesday, October the 12th, and this is episode number 963. Follow me on all things social media. You can search for hashtag T2Q. You can search for Talk to Q, and you can pretty much find me anywhere by doing so. And please like, subscribe, and share to help the show grow. It'll definitely be appreciated. All right, let me go to the T2Q phone lines to see who's going to be joining the mix this evening. Let's see, where do I want? Oh, just a bunch of show legends. Oh, just show legends galore. Where do I want to start first? From the 209 area code, the Golden State of California, please welcome on show legend Robin to the Talk to Q radio show. Hey, Robin, how are you?
Q, what's happening? Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to you, Robin. How are you?
I'm doing well. You know, it's been a good Tuesday. No complaints from me.
That's what's up. That's what I like to hear.
How about you? How are
Life's
you?
good. Life's good.
Yeah. Getting ready for the wedding?
Getting ready. All right. Glad to have you on. Let me go back to the phone lines. See who else I have here. From the 732 area code, the Garden State of New Jersey, please welcome on the voice of reason, Amanda. Amanda, what's going on?
Hey Q, hey everybody. How's it going for everybody tonight?
It's going well.
Good.
Great.
Good to see you. And back to the phone lines I go. You know, one of the newer show legends right here.
She's your queen.
Residing in the Lone Star State of Texas, please welcome show legend Queen Cole to the Talk to Q radio show. Queen, what's going on?
Hey, good evening, everyone.
Hey, Queen.
Glad to have you
I love
on.
that I'm a show legend now. Ooh.
Good to see you. And two more. From the 732 area code, the Garden State of New Jersey, please welcome on the show enforcer, the show legend, Ray. Ray, what's happening? What's up, Ray?
Hey, what's up, Q? Ladies,
man?
how y'all doing tonight?
Hey, Ray.
Ray, after that music
Alright.
plays, man, I feel like you got to spit some bars or something, bro.
Yeah, I can write them down.
All right, last one. Then we'll go ahead and kick things off. From the 850 area code, the Emerald coastline of Pensacola, Florida, making his way to the ring, the man in black, the Buckster. What's going on, Buck? What's happening, man?
What up, everybody? How's everybody doing this evening?
Doing well, doing well.
Excellent.
All right, what's up, bro?
What's up,
All
Ray?
right,
What's up, Robin? Everybody?
going on. We'll go ahead and kick things off and get started. And so, uh, let's start here. Some old schoolers uh, think that being a parent essentially means that you live exclusively for your kids. Robin, let me go with you first. There's nothing wrong with a parent having fun, right?
Absolutely not. You have to, enjoy yourself while doing this parenting journey. Whether you're single, whether you're raising the kids together, you have to have some time to yourself. It cannot be 100% solely dedicated to your child. They're important. You definitely have to pour into them, but you have to pour into yourself. Like with anything else, a relationship, anything, you got to pour into yourself.
Okay. Buck, how do you feel about that, man? Do you agree? Do you think that you can still be a parent and have fun? I mean, is that okay?
Oh yeah, it's definitely you can do it. I did it. Me and my ex-wife, we were able to do it without any issues. You just have to you have to plan things. You have to put a little bit more time into it to make sure that the kids are taken care of. But in any event, you can still, enjoy yourself and be a parent at the same time.
Okay. And so, Ray, let me ask you, how important is the presence of a parent in a child's early years? Let's say from birth to age 7. How important is a parent's presence?
Oh man, it's just all crucial. It's probably the most important thing because your parents are the first people that you learn from, and that's where you get your morals from and your integrity. So you need to start that off early. So the more you can learn from your parents, the good parents anyway, not just people that are having babies, but good parents. That's where you learn all of your core values from. So I think it's extremely important.
Okay. Amanda, do you co-sign with that?
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's important to be present. I also believe that you have to make sure you're happy to be able to, like I believe it was, I can't remember if it was Queen or if it was Robin saying how you have to be able to pour into your children, but you have to pour into yourself first. So it's very important to be present. In the example that you gave at the beginning, like if there was something going on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would say you would have to prioritize. You would have to say, okay, which one can I go to? Okay, well, little Jimmy has a soccer game on Saturday, so I can't do the Saturday event, but maybe I could do the Sunday brunch, or maybe I could do the Friday thing. I mean, you just have to be able to prioritize and know what's important, to make sure that you're being present for your family, but also giving yourself that time to have fun and refresh yourself and pour into yourself as well.
Okay. And so, Robin, let me get back to you, and because it looks like Queen Cole having some technical difficulties, so she's going to get back on. But Robin, what about if you have a babysitter? Let's say, yeah, you're married, or you have a live-in significant other, or a roommate, or a mom, or dad, or whoever that can babysit. Can you go out regularly then, if as long as the kid is taken care of and it's safe?
I mean, I'm not all for parents being turned up. You got responsibilities at home. So I think you need to, enjoy yourself. But I think there also comes a time at a certain age when you're like, okay, my life is a little bit different now. I don't need to be at the club. So, and maybe it's not just going to the club. Maybe it's hanging with girlfriends, going to a book club or what have you. But your children are looking at you to be their parents. So going out every week is not something I would personally do. But uh, to each his own. I just don't recommend it because you have your children to spend time with.
Okay. And Buck, do you agree? I mean, if you got a babysitter, then I mean the kid is good, right? So you can go out and do what you want to do.
I'm not one for going out every single weekend. I mean, you got responsibilities at home. Besides that, you could ruin your babysitting privileges going out, on a consistent basis. I don't see whether it's a problem once or twice a month where you need to go out and have a good time with your significant other, or what have you. But just doing it every week, 2 or 3 times a week, that's not a good look. The kids are learning from somebody else other than you're a role model. You're supposed to be a role model for your kids. So the kids is watching you, and if you're going out on a consistent basis, and once they get up of age and start really paying attention to what you're doing, it's not a good look. So it's important that the kids, that you take care of your responsibilities, and it's okay to go out every once in a while, but not on a consistent basis.
All right. And on Twitter, Ashley chimed in earlier from Columbus, Mississippi, and she says, I don't ball, but I definitely take time to parent and make fun time for myself because I'm more than just mommy. It's part of self care when you just let your hair down from time to time.
Mhm.
So she says there's nothing wrong with doing it from time to time. You have to have a break to, I guess get your mind right so you don't end up choking out your kids. You don't want to be stressed out.
For real.
And Queen, let me get you in on this. Is it okay if you go out? I mean, on a regular basis. When I say regular, I mean maybe at least one night every weekend. As long as there's someone home to take care of the kid. What if the other parent is able to take care of the kid? Is it okay then?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely essential that you do that. You just mentioned self care, and that's the main thing because you were somebody before you were a mom as well. So it's like, okay, still nurture that person. I was that mom that I was so engrossed when people saw me, they never called me queen. They calling me Jada's mom, CJ's mom. I didn't even have my own name. So I was so into that. Like, I love that. But on the other hand, I didn't know who Deborah was. So I think it's important for your self care, your mental stability, that you do things outside the home without your children and even without your spouse.
Okay. That's a different topic for a different show. I mean, I can honestly say as a child, I rarely knew if my parents went out or not. Um, they would probably just let me spend the night at my cousin's house or a friend's house, or maybe down at my grandmother's. And so I hardly ever saw them get dressed and go out. And I never knew my parents even drank alcohol until I was almost a teenager. And so, that's just how it worked for me. They just made sure I was always gone. But Ray, when kids reach the age range of like 8 to 12 years old, aren't they monitoring their parents' lifestyle? Aren't they really paying attention in that age range?
Yeah, I think even earlier than that, they pay attention to their lifestyle. I mean, a lot of parents think that they can say things and do things, and people don't see their immature or their whole like behavior. But these kids are very smart and they're very intelligent. I mean, they were at our back when we was that age. They is especially so now. So I think you have to be real careful about who you bring around your kids. Not necessarily saying they're gonna do something to your kids, but your kids shouldn't see you with different people every other week and stuff like that because their minds are impressionable. So when they see things, it's in the back of their mind to duplicate what they see the people that they idolize. And the first people you idolize generally is your parents. So I think you got to be careful with that.
Okay. And Amanda, I mean, I don't have any children. I know you don't have any children. And how do you feel discussing what is or what isn't a good parent? Because I'm pretty sure you've experienced in your life just as I have when people say you don't have any kids, so therefore you don't know what you're talking about.
Mm.
I mean, and that's why I try to be cautious on speaking on something that I can't personally relate to in the sense of being a parent. But I know that as a child, I know what I grew up seeing. My parents weren't going out all the time, but when they did, we were in good care with, my grandparents. And when they went out, it was normally it was something it was a special occasion or whatever, but I think there's ways to do there's just I all I can do is imagine myself as a parent and say that I think there's a responsible way of still enjoying yourself, going out and having a good time, but it's also important to make sure that you're spending quality time with your kids. So it may be where I would like to go out every Friday night with coworkers, but that's the only night where my entire family can be together and we can have a family dinner or whatever it is. So you have to sacrifice something sometimes. It just depends on the situation. It may be somebody else where, they're with their kids so much that them going out on a Friday night every week doesn't take away from anything because of all the extra time they spend with their family or with their children. So, um, yeah, I mean, all I can do is imagine what it would be like if I had kids and what I think I would want to do. Um, I think it would be important to strike a good balance.
Okay. And I get you, and I'm glad someone else feels my pain as far as because you're not a parent, people think that you don't know anything. Uh, I think that's ridiculous. I think some things are just common sense. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I know there's some. I'm not saying I know it all by any means, but I do think some things are common sense, and you can get advice from someone who's not a parent because I don't think you have to do to know. I mean, if that's the case, then the doctor that delivered me as a baby wouldn't have been a dude because dudes can't get pregnant. But Robin, let me ask you this. What exactly does being a parent mean to you? How should your life change, if at all, once you become one?
It's a lot more focused, a lot more is put on another person outside of yourself. Your selfishness becomes selflessness. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
You're not always thinking about how it's going to affect you, but how it's going to affect you and them. And I think that was the biggest change for me, which it really was very organic. I think once you become a parent, you have those 9 months, although I say they're 10 months, to get prepared for that, although you probably are never prepared for some things. And you just you get in that mindset of, okay, my life is about to be different and it's going to be more focused on the happiness of this child.
All right. But what about you as a guy? What does being a parent mean for you? Did anything change once you became a parent for the first time?
Well, I mean, I was actually kind of like thrown into the line of fire because my ex-wife had 2 kids um, prior to us, prior to me having Sean Jr. So it was actually an easy transition, and the reason I say that simply because for me, when you have a good system, even though my dad wasn't there a lot because he was in the military and things of that nature, but my grandmother, my mom, my uncles, my aunts and things of that nature, it takes you know a, a village, as I always say. So I had a good foundation when it came to that. So, and my ex-wife really didn't have a good foundation. She had some things that happened when she was younger that were unfortunate. So it was really, for me, it was really easy for me to become a parent because of everything that I had seen from from the village that I had. So I had a good foundation. So being thrown in the line of fire, it really didn't mean anything. I was just like, all right, I knew the responsibilities and things of that nature that, what it required. And I just grabbed the reins and took it. And then it was pretty good. I mean, there were some challenges here and there. I mean, it wasn't all sugar. There was some salt involved as well. But at the same time, I wasn't scared to do it. It was like, I almost felt like I was born to do it. So it just felt natural to me to be a parent. So, it was really wasn't that hard for me.
All right. So, Ray, let me ask you this, man. Does your age matter as far as how serious you may take parenting? I mean, is a 20 something allowed certain freedoms that maybe somebody in their 40s who's a parent isn't? Because if at 20 you haven't really just lived your life yet, so if you have a kid, don't you still have to try to live your life? How's that work? Do you think, as far as age is concerned?
I think you have to mature early. When you're ready for kids, you're ready to be mature. I think an older parent should have more leeway than a younger parent because an older parent knows how to balance things better. A younger parent is just, you can't grow up and your kid growing up too. When you decide to have a kid, you have to be an adult. So the kids' needs have to come first. I'm quite sure if you have a mother or father that's in their 40s, they can take the kids some time, and then you can do what you want to do, and you can still have a responsible relative or responsible babysitter taking care of them while you're doing other fun things that you like to do. But at the same time, your primary concern is your kids. If you have money left over, then you can party, then you can go out to eat, and then you can go and hang out with friends and stuff like that. But the problem that you have a lot of people doing is they asking other people for money and signing up for financial aid and all this and that when you're spending your money on other things that you should be spending on a child. And when the child sees that, they grow up with that type of mentality. Then they think somebody's supposed to give them something they don't want to work. They don't feel like they can achieve the things that they're able to achieve because they look at their parents, you know, doing things of that nature. So it's very important how you present yourself to kids, regardless of whether you had kids or not. Is a certain way that is right and certain ways that are wrong. A lot of people dispute what's right and wrong, but if you really look at right and wrong, most of the time it's straight down the middle. There's no gray area.
All right. And Queen, what do you think about as far as a person's age? Does a 20 something get more leeway as a first time parent than maybe a 39 or 40-year old? Or should it always be the same? When you become a parent, things have to change.
I think it's across the board. I was a young mother. I had my first child at 17 years old. I got married immediately after at 18 years old. Um, and I just think that it's about your mentality because you have 40-year-olds that are irresponsible. You have 40-year-old men who are emotionally unavailable, So I don't think age has anything to do with it. It's all about your mentality. And I like what Buck was saying about the village. Like it still takes a village to do that, to be able to navigate through raising a child. So I don't think your age has anything to do with it. It's about your mentality. You have to say, hey, I'm going to be taking care of my baby, but sometimes I do want to go out and have a good time. And if go out, have a good time, that could be going to the gym. I know we're saying party and all this and that, but what if somebody's, in school and they're like, our mom, can you really watch the baby? Because I need to study, like uninterrupted time. We should be there to be able to help out in those situations. I mean, and it's all everybody's discretion. Like, okay, if the person is spending money and blowing money, but then they're asking you for diapers, then that's when you need to have the conversation. Like, I ain't gonna watch your baby if you out here doing this. So just keeping it real, because that's how the village was with me. Like, my mom was like, "Yeah, you had a baby, okay. You're out of high school, okay. Your baby's crying. Go get your baby. Go get your baby." It wasn't like she was like running to go get the baby, but
Yeah.
the days when there were sleepless nights, I needed help, and she was there to be able to help, until I got married, XYZ. But I don't think age has anything to do with it.
Okay. So let me ask you this, and this is just to build on the whole village thing that Buck brought up, and that Queen was also talking about. Uh, of course, generations past, there was always Big Mama. Everybody, just especially from the South, everybody had a Big Mama or something. And so there was always someone there to kind of take care, the matriarch of the family, kids, and to help out when help was needed. Regardless if you were single or married, you still had help. And so now we really don't have that. Now you have someone that may be in their 20s who needs help, but their parents may be in their 40s. They're like, look, we didn't had you, you're grown. I'm going out to party. It's my time now. You got to handle this on your own. So where's the village come from now? This is for whoever wants to answer. Where do we find our village now?
Your village can be more than just your family. It can be friends. A lot of times, people don't even have family that is part of their village. It's friends, it's coworkers, neighbors. But of course, be cautious with that because you just don't want to leave your children with anybody. But I know, like when I moved out of the state of Michigan, moved to California, I had to create a village, and I didn't have any family in the city I was in. I knew nobody. So it was, coaches picking up my son to go to practice, or one of the moms from the basketball team my daughter was on. She would take everybody to school in the morning, something like that. So you just have to vet people and make sure they're as safe as possible. But because Big Mama, I don't know if she really exists as much anymore. I know when I had my kids, mother was like, I don't want nobody calling me that. So I don't think she exists.
Well, I gotta chime in because I am a newly promoted to grandma status over here, and I just think it goes back to the parenting. I'm not a helicopter parent, but I am actively involved in my young adult children's lives. Like, if my daughter needs me, hey, I'm here. I have my laptop. I can work from wherever I have Wi-Fi. I can help out where needed. If my son was to have a baby, I would go to help out as well, because I am actively involved, and I don't want them to. It kills me, the whole parent. You got to get it out the mud because I got it out the mud and we did it by ourselves. Like, no. Let me help you, give you the baton from here where we are, opposed to having to go back with the struggle and stuff like that. I don't want my kids to go through that. So if I can be of any assistance to help my children, even if a child, or even financially, or career wise, hey, I'm going to be there to help, because I don't think the parenting stops at 18. I'm really opposed to the whole kick them out and make them do this. And some people aren't ready for that. It's our job as parents to get them ready, and each child is going to be different. So I'm that grandma. I want to be involved. Call me. What you want to do? You need to go do something. Go ahead. You need to take a nap. Go ahead. Call me. So I'm that grandma. I don't want to be called Big Mama. Because I want to be a
Nobody wants to be Big Mama anymore.
I want to be big in all the right places.
So is it any obligation for a grandparent to be that village, so to speak, or is it okay? Is a person well within their right to say, I've raised you, now you're a parent, get it how you live?
Yeah, you got to ask me now. You're not going to be telling me what to do. I'm still the parent here. But I'm still the parent. So
do you feel any obligation, though? Is it something you do because you want to, or something that you feel like you're obligated to do?
No, I totally want to do it. I want to be involved. I don't want to be that long distance parent. When I had my children, like I said, had the baby at 17, got married at 18, moved away. So when I had my second child, my mom was miles and miles away. She wasn't there to hands-on. Like, she came to visit, to help out, but like, I needed an extra set of hands because my ex-husband, he went to work. I'm here with a 16-month-old and a newborn. I needed help. So in my brain, I'm thinking, like, what did I need at that time that could have helped me run smoother? So that's what I'm talking about, the baton. Instead of taking my daughter back to the struggling days, I'm like, yo, I'm here. All I got to do is have Wi-Fi and light. I can do my thing. So no, you're not obligated, but I think that I have the privilege that I'm fit. I'm in a good mental state to be able to help. Then absolutely, there's no place I would rather be right now. Like,
okay.
No.
Does anyone feel like that a parent should be obligated, a grandparent should be obligated to help?
Nope. I don't know about obligated. I mean, I don't think the obligation is there, but as you want to see your grandchildren, they're an extension of your children. So And it's just again, it's organic. It's very natural that you want to be in their lives and do the things that your kids need help in doing. And Queen, people do talk about 18 up. I'm gone. I'm done. I did what I had to do. I just think, in my opinion, that's the worst thing you could do to a young adult, is just to put them out there unprepared to do anything. My son, my oldest, is 22 and lives in San Diego, but has decided he wants to move to Dallas. So this week he drove from San Diego to Dallas. He just did it today. And I'm on pins and needles, like, you need me to send you some money? You need me to, He's like, Mom, I got this. So you have to learn, it's difficult to learn, but you got to learn when to pull back and learn when to apply pressure. So it's as my mother says, you never cut the cord.
Okay.
Yeah, you let them fly. They scrape their knees, but you're there to have that safety net. You don't just let them slit their wrist. You don't let them do that. You don't let
Wow.
them do it.
What an analogy. All right, so I got another caller, and it's another show legend.
What up, Radio World?
From the 601 area code in the Magnolia State of Mississippi, please welcome on the original show legend, the Minister of Sexual Affairs, Eminem. What's shaking, man?
Hey, what up, Q? What shit. What up, Radio World? Man, that new music threw me off, man. I was listening for my pimp song, man, but this all good. I'll adjust.
Yeah, man.
But I remember the copyright stuff.
Goes. Yeah. All right, good to have you on, man. So, Eminem, let me ask you this: we talk about, when do you start being parents, and once your kids reach a certain age, let's say they're at least 13 years old, between 13 and 17. So they're old enough to stay home by themselves. They're old enough to cook food if they need food, or something like that. At what point can the parent go back to balling, like they did prior to becoming a parent, since the dependency phase is kind of out of the way? I mean, can it start back when the kid's around 13?
If you see, the thing about that is, originally I thought that, but nah, that's when you got to be the parent.
From the 601. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
Okay. Yeah, now I was saying, like, that's when you have to really start being the parent of most, because when they get that age, that's when you got to watch their ass. You know what I'm saying? So that's when the mischief start, and like with my one of my older sons, he started, tinkering, tampering with a bunch of shit that was going on in the neighborhood, little gangs and shit like that. I mean, all that kind of shit started. That's when. But originally, I thought that, that, oh yeah, but nah, it's after that, summer guns pretty much have to be, grown or whatever before you can just, let it down like that. Because after that, then somebody fuck up, it ain't on you. That's pretty much how it go.
Okay. Now,
then yeah.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, I was saying, like, and then it all depends on the gender too, because I mean, you got boys, a lot of shit take a turn, and you don't want them, but especially if you somewhere in an urban area or something like that, it's like shit'll get mixed up quick with it. They get mixed up with the wrong crowd, and next thing you know, your kids mixed up in all kind of shit. And then if it's a girl, it's like, well, you get the balling too hard if they know your ass ain't around, or every time you look around, you toe up or whatever, and they know you ain't coming home. And next thing you know, you got a nigga coming through your window or whatever. So I mean, you got to take all that in consideration. So, but you can let your guard down some. You can, you don't have to spend as much money. Like babysitting and all that stuff. That's the good part. But cell phones make stuff easier, because you can just, like, hey, what y'all doing? Seeing how long it's gonna take for somebody to respond, you can almost predict what's going on just on the response time. If they respond too fast, they up to something. If it's about 5 to 10 minutes, then it's about normal. So.
All right. So I think you made an interesting point when you said that you have to watch them even closer, because they're at the age when they can get into stuff. Anybody else want to co-sign on that?
Yes, I think that's the main part because they are getting into that independent phase. And about 7 years, 9 years old, they start saying, I know, I know, I know. So then they know everything. They ain't been here but 2 minutes on the planet, but they know everything. So, yeah, when they become teenagers, you have to be even more actively engaged. I actually, my ex husband retired me, and my children were in high school. So, because they had so much going on, they needed, their parents to be more actively involved. So I think when they get older, yeah, you got to be on it because they moving, they driving, they hanging out with other people. So yeah, when they're babies, it's so easy. It's easy.
All right. So let's get to this final question and we get ready to wrap things up. Let's say that your kids are now adults. Okay, let's say they're 21, they're legal. How do you feel about parents who go clubbing with their kids or maybe go attend the same night spots that their children do? And this is for, I guess, whoever wants to answer. How do you feel about that? Is that okay because they're legal that you can ball with your kid?
No, we're gonna ball out at a restaurant. We're gonna eat some good food. We're gonna have appetizers. I might have a glass of wine. We're gonna have dessert. But going to a club, I don't even go to clubs, but I don't even think we're gonna listen to the same music. So we're not gonna we ain't gonna be dressed the same. I might have little kid heels. They might have these. I would just be out of place. So no, we can go ball at the mall. We can go shopping together. We can go dining together. We can go do an activity together, but not to no club. I'm not. If I see my kid in the club, I'm move. I need to leave.
I agree. I mean, like we discussed, I'm not a
I
parent,
do
but
too.
just as a child, I couldn't see partying with my parents in that, like, not in a club atmosphere. Is one thing if it's a wedding reception, or because you always have to have that respect factor. And I think that no matter how old you get, you don't want to lose respect. You don't want to lose respect for your parents. You don't want to your children to lose respect for you. So I think that you always have to keep it on a certain level and not cross certain boundaries.
Go ahead, Robin.
So I won't be at a club with my kids on a weekly basis, but I have partied with them. We went to Vegas in May of this year. We went to a club in Vegas together, and we had a great time. I wasn't, like dropping it like it's hot or nothing. It wasn't hot girl summer, but I had a good time. So I think it's possible to enjoy them in that atmosphere. But mama ain't hanging out like that because at like 11:30, I was like, okay, I'm about to go to my room because I was done.
Mm-mm.
See,
But it was
Robin, that's
fun.
when the real party got started.
Right.
What you were at, that wasn't the party.
Yeah,
That was for
yeah,
the
it's
mamas
In
and the
my
Wow.
daddies
mind.
in your
yeah,
mind.
it's a lot of people get high with their kids now. I mean, that's some shit I don't understand. But I'm talking about
Wow.
like I'm not even talking about high school. I'm talking about middle school. You know.
Ooh,
Uh,
Kids
yeah.
getting high in middle
yeah,
school? Oh Lord.
hell yeah, shit.
Ooh, Mississippi. What?
Woo.
Yeah, shit. Shit, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, and we've all seen like videos that where unfortunately you have the unfortunate situation where a kid is rolling a blunt for their parent and all that other type of stuff, and so it does happen. But I think it's interesting that you said something, Robin, as far as the respect factor. I think no, that was Amanda. Excuse me. As far as the respect factor, you want to maintain that respect for your parents, so to speak. I mean, what are some things that can make a child lose respect for their parents?
Well, geez, if you're sitting there smoking a joint with them in middle school, I would think that would be one thing. Good God.
Well, it all depends on if I can interject. A lot of time it all depends on how you taught them while they were coming up. Like me, I never said, you know, watch me for an example other than going to work and stuff. I always was like, shit, do what I say. Like the old school way,
Hmm.
like like in my neighborhood out in the country when I grew up at, it was just like shit. Other than my dad, like my whole family was damn near, alcoholics and shit like that. But they would tell you, hey boy, take your ass over there. Don't be doing this, but they doing it. So it wouldn't be like. So you kind of grew up with if somebody told you something, that's what you did more so than an example. So so
Yeah.
that kind of rubbed off on me a little bit. So it's more so like like nah. It ain't one of them things where you cussing or you doing it. No, 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 no. Hell no. It ain't about me. I'm grown. It's about you. So, that's the way pretty much on my end anyway. That's the way my kids came up. It wasn't so much what you looking at is what I'm telling you, and you better do it. So
Yeah.
people call that shit bullying now, but I mean that was
Yeah, I
normal
was gonna
at least
say
one time.
I wonder how many people subscribe to that theory anymore, because a lot of
Oh nah,
people
man.
don't
They
believe
say
in
they
the.
call that bullying shit now. I mean it's jacked up, because
Mhm.
I mean you would be shocked. But now what's interesting is especially like with my little sports teams or whatever, a lot of the single moms that think they got it all figured out, and then when they got a real knucklehead that's getting influenced by everybody, then all of a sudden the shit they telling you is crazy at first. Now they looking for that because they done kind of like pulling their hair out trying to figure out like, damn, is my kid gonna be in jail in about 2 more years? Like, yeah, if nobody don't get in his ass now, he is gonna be in jail in about 2 years or worse. So some of that old school stuff is, yeah, some people might say it's outdated, but for the most part it worked because I have to tell kids that daily. They don't question me about shit. It ain't what I'm telling you. Hell, I got a damn degree, and I damn sure got a middle school degree. So shit, but y'all trying to get this shit. So if I let something slip, it ain't about me. It's about you. You can't say this. You can't do this. You got to do this. You got to ask for permission. I ain't got to do shit. But as time go on, they start understanding that. But you can tell generationally, a lot of that type of stuff ain't kicked to them like that. They really think they are your damn equal. Calling their mama by the first name and all that shit like that. I didn't come up like that. So to each his own. But I'm just saying, with some of this, like on the, kind of going back to Amanda's point about the respect. See, that's kind of generationally what was set the tone. It was just like, you were in your mind, you never were your parents equal, and you never gonna be your parents equal. It's always gonna be a certain level of, hell, I brought you in this world, Theo, I'll take your ass out. It's kind of like that kind of stuff.
I got you. I got you.
I
Makes a
think
lot
with
of
the
sense.
I think with the parents in these days, my children are 24 and 22. We mixed both traditional values, but then also some updated stuff. Because that was the point that I was going to say is that whole "do as I say, not as I do." That it's a little outdated because kids are so visual; they're visually stimulated. They're mimicking so many things. Not just you, but everything else. So it's important to show those examples as well. I think showing it is even better than just saying it, because a lot of times, you'll say one thing to your child and then you'll have a coach or somebody else say the same thing and it's like, boom. And you're like, I've been saying that. So I think your example has to also line up with that, even though we're grown, but we still have to hold ourselves to a certain a level of accountability as well. I'm not going to say, don't do this and then I'm over here trying to do it. I'm going to tell you, okay, maybe I went down the wrong path. Now don't go down here, don't do this because this is what happened to me. And I think just being open and honest with them is a main key factor in order to keep that respect. Just being honest with them straight up, like, we don't got money for that right now, instead of just saying, no, don't ask me for nothing. No, we don't got money for that. We got this. I never knew my parents' bills and stuff. I just wanted stuff. But my kids knew, okay, we got bills. Y'all trying to be on this team. Y'all want to do this. This is what we got. This what you need. So I just think being open and honest with them, because they can handle, they hearing a lot of stuff outside of the home. So they got to get the good stuff in the home and able to go out and be able to decipher and not letting their friends be their educators.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because one thing that I would always do is, especially when it comes to stuff that's like, dealing with finances and stuff like that, I just be kind of brutally honest. I'm like, well, we ain't got this or that or something like this. Like, well, shit, I had too many of y'all. I had you too damn young. That's why we ain't got shit. You know, and I would say that and just put that bird in the ear. So, hey, man, just, you know, take a different route. You know what I'm saying? Get your shit
What
together
kind of
first.
bird
You know.
was that?
And they was
That
like,
was
okay,
that was
Daddy
a crow.
dang.
Sometimes that's what see. But today's parents. Sometimes today's parents don't want to actually do what's required to get it done. And I mean, yeah, you can put some of today's new traditions and things of that nature in parenting. But I think a little bit more old school actually works better, because when I came into the situation that I came into, they had been really kind of spoiled and really not I would just say the rod was spared. Not so much on the older one, but the second one, the rod was really spared on that second one. So the traditional new age stuff never worked. So I was the harder one of the two of us when it came to parenting. So they tried, being a step parent, Ken has his own set of challenges. They knew I would say no. They would call their mom, and their mom couldn't be on the phone that long. She'll just say yes. She don't even know what the hell she's saying yes to. And, they found out real fast. It took about a couple of years. But after that, after year two, they figured out real quick. If I say no, don't call your mama asking her to say yes, because it's not happening. And if I caught them, and it was cool for me because I had flexibility. And I could get off work a little bit early. And I would actually catch them doing some of the stuff they had already asked me, not, then I already told them no to. And I would never come home the same way. I just come up in the house, boom. I was like SWAT. And they were like, oh, shit. And they straightened out real quick. It took, like I said, it took a couple of years to do it. But at the same time, they realized, and it was real funny. My middle one lives in North Carolina now. And I went to visit him, and he didn't know I was coming. And my middle one, it was the challenging one of the three of them. So he was working at the Nissan dealership, so I came in, and he had just moved there. And he didn't go on to come up because he said, I don't know nobody in North Carolina. So it took him about 12, 13 minutes to come up front, but he finally came up front. And I heard him talking to the sales manager going like, I don't know nobody in North Carolina. And I was standing behind one of those cardboard cutout people. And I stepped out from behind it. I was like, yes, you do know somebody in North Carolina. Well, his eyes got so big, he's like, yes, I do. So it was kind of funny. He said, golly, you still sneaking up on me, even like you used to do in class. Because I would catch my middle one just screwing up in class, just doing stupid stuff. And I just walk in the classroom and sit down. He didn't even know I was even in there. So you have to, you can't put too much of this new age stuff in here, because if you put a lot of it in here, kids gonna run over you. You give them too much rope, they try to be cowboys, cowgirls. You got to keep the reins tight. And I mean, if you get a pretty good balance, a mixture between the two, will get you results. But if you go too much new age and not enough of the old school, you gonna set yourself up for disaster.
I agree, man. I think balance is definitely the key, because it's like, when I was growing up, it wasn't very wise to ask your parents why on certain things. They tell you no, and you come at, well, how come I can't, or why, or whatever. A lot of times that didn't end well. But with my parents, sometimes I got because I said so. Sometimes I got an explanation. It depends on what it was. But when I did receive that because I said so, that was kind of a reminder that, hey, I'm the child, that's the parent, and there's a certain hierarchy. So I think there has to be some type of balance, as far as all that's concerned. I think it's somewhere in between. I definitely don't necessarily agree with new school parenting, but by the same token, I realize you can't kind of just stay back in the past either. You got to be somewhere in the middle. But all right, we'll get ready to wrap things up. Robin had to drop off. I got a tweet from Jay earlier. Let's see if I can show it. I can't get there. We go. As far as going out with your kids, going out and partying with your kids, he says, I find it's cultural. My wife's family does it all the time. Took some getting used to, but we don't go to the club with our adult kids typically, but if you're on vacation, the entire extended family may get bottle service. Okay, and that kind of goes back to what Robin was talking about, where she went on vacation, so her and her kids hung out. So I totally get that. All right, so before we get to our final thoughts, next Tuesday at 7:30 Central Time, we'll be discussing how to set boundaries. We all should have a line that others should not cross, but how do we establish that line? And what do we do when people cross it? What are the consequences? How to set boundaries, Tuesday, October 19th at 7:30 p.m. Central Time on the Talk to Q radio show. No experts, just opinions. We'll go ahead and get ready to wrap this thing up. And so, Queen, I'll start with you. Your final thoughts on the evening, please.
Well, first of all, thank you as usual. A great panel. I love being here with you guys. Got the view with the show legends, so I appreciate that. But parenting it's ever evolving. There's no particular manual that's going to show you the perfect parent because there's no perfect person. Every child is going to be different. So just take your time, have grace with yourself, and have patience with your children, and just navigate this thing we call life.
All right, and real quick, plug your show.
Everyone can follow me at One Queen Cole on all social media platforms, and then also Light the Path podcast. I am coming up on my 2-year anniversary, so I'm very excited about that. So go over, check out a few episodes. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear from you. Light the Path podcast.
All right, congratulations on that. Appreciate you joining the show. Good to see you. And Ray, I'll go with you, man. Your final thoughts.
Yeah, great show. Great topic. I think if you are parenting, you should take the best of what you've been taught from your parents and apply it, and then take the other half of what you didn't like about what they taught you and do your own thing and make it better. Because a lot of times everybody say how great old school parenting was, but if you look at everything, it wasn't always done right. Just a lot of dictating, a lot of, beating and so forth. Now, I'm against a lot of that, but you do have to have some understanding at the same time. And you have to be able to be reasonable. If you're not able to do any of that, yeah, you can say you did a good job, but then you look at the end result and things don't go right. Then you can say, well, okay, parents should never look back and say, well, I could have did this differently, I could have done that differently. We just got to kind of look and say, man, they could have talked to me a little bit more than just come out swinging every time you did something wrong. But I think about now that you have to, with everything going on, I think you have to communicate more with kids because there's so much communication around them. And if you don't communicate with them, I think you're going to lose them. And that's what I think the biggest problem is now. You got a lot of parents, they don't communicate enough with the kids. Now, you can't always communicate, and you sparing the rod with no communication, that won't work. You got to have a nice balance. So, like, you talk about something, they understand what the rules are. So when they break them, they already know what it is. Versus, okay, you do something wrong, you just know you are automatically in trouble. You didn't talk about it, you didn't do nothing. And I think that things could be better between parents and kids if there was more conversation going on.
All right. Good stuff, man. I appreciate it. And Amanda, if I can get your final thoughts, please.
Great show. Glad to be on with the show legends tonight. I agree with what Queen had to say as well as Ray. I think that we always look at maybe the way we were brought up or what we remember. And like Ray said, you have to take the good and kind of the things that you feel like your parents could have done better. You try to not make the same mistakes. But sometimes you realize why they did what they did. and you just try to do better. But communication is key, and you also have to realize that I think all of us on the call right now we came up in 70s, 80s, 90s, so it's a different time period, so just like your parents couldn't raise you exactly the way that they were brought up, certain things had to change just based on time, based on technology and everything. So you have to take into account the age you're living in, but keep the core values of parenting. But you also have to realize that kids nowadays are facing things that we didn't necessarily have to face at the same time, or face at all. So I think you just always have to keep that in perspective, and just keep that in mind, because what you were doing at 17 and what you had access to isn't the same thing. Or 17 may not be a good age, but let's say 14. 14, it's two different worlds. So yeah, so I really enjoyed everybody and hope everybody has a great rest of the week.
All right. Thank you very much. Glad to have you on. And Buck, let me get your final thoughts, man.
Living in today's time, I'm glad I'm not raising kids at this point. My youngest one just turned 21. It's definitely difficult, and everything that's going on in the world today. It's really, it's really, really hard. It's not a village like it used to be when we were coming up, where you had access to uncles and grandparents, aunts, cousins and things of that nature. A lot of people live across country. I mean, some people, people move away from their hometowns and things of that nature, and they don't have their mothers and fathers or their, or their, their significant others, parents and things of that nature. They just don't have that. So we're living in a different age. So we don't have the, hopefully your core values when you were coming up were strong, and you can, feed off that. But, really you need that village, and it's important. You don't necessarily have to just go all the way, away all the time. And that's something that people have to think about. In any event, you got to take the best that, like Ray said and so many others said. You got to have a balance. You got to have a balance of what you learn, how you can make it better, and a little bit of today's time, and get a delicate balance of what you can do to raise your kids and raise them properly. Even if the situation goes south where both parents separate, it's about the kids being raised properly. You can't just say, all right, I don't like this, I don't like the other person, and just throw it all away. You have to stay engaged. You got to stay involved with your children, because ultimately you're still a role model, whether you're with that person or whether you're not with that person. You got to make sure that everything is, you keep the kid in mind and get them raised properly. That's what's most important. You help bring them in the world. You got to stay engaged with them and make sure they're raised properly, so maybe they don't duplicate the same things that their parents did, and that's important. So, I think there were a lot of points made tonight, and hopefully, people that are listening out there will take some of the stuff that we said tonight and take it to heart, and change some of the things that they might be doing wrong, so therefore they can raise better children. But great show. Glad to have all the show legends on tonight, and everybody enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you, sir. And Eminem, shut it down for me, man.
Oh man, great show, man. Glad to have so many people on. I think I know I've been on the show before. Robin been on. I'm not sure the Queen or whatever, but glad to have the Queen on or whatever. And just a much needed topic, man. But everybody had great points, and everything was well said. Only thing I like to add to it is one challenge now that's even different from my kids now versus my grown kids is just like the whole world has literally changed in the last 5 years, not 10, but the last 5 years. I mean, stuff that was the what was perceived to be a normal value system. I'm not necessarily talking about religious stuff, but just, values, especially when it comes to like masculine values and shit like that, man. Now shit, that's your ass, man. So it make it more challenging to just kind of put your spin on things, so to speak. So that's something that um is kind of counterintuitive, so to speak, when the whole world is saying this or saying that, and your kids coming home is like, shit, man, you saying just the opposite of all that shit. And it's like, yeah, but shit, that's how it is, man. This how the shit gonna be, But other than that, I think everything was great. A lot of people need to hear stuff like that, but the main thing is, when it comes to kids, I would advise anybody, you know what I'm saying, make sure that once again, ain't necessarily from a religious standpoint, but hell, make sure shit is better when you plan a child and all that stuff. I mean, most parents are more mature. You had a chance to have a career, a job, or something like that. You ain't just waiting on a stimulus check and all that shit just to get diapers. Just do the shit, just do the shit the right way. And a lot of the ills of rearing a kid won't be as bad, because what happens a lot of times, and I see it all the time, a lot of delinquents and stuff like that are delinquent because their parent or parents, but mainly their parent, just became mature enough to even, visit the school for the first time. Because, from 13 to 24, 25, she's doing what she was, age wise wanted to do, going out and kicking it and all that. Ain't nobody talking about no damn PTA meetings and all that shit. So, but the kid, the kid's still here, the kid's still growing, and a lot of people don't understand that reality, but that's what it is. That's why a lot of foreign countries are so strict when it comes to that kind of stuff. It ain't so much marriage to say you're married; it's just to try to curb the things when it comes to, like, illegitimate kids and all that stuff and all this stuff that come with it. But like I say, man, I'm gonna try to beat this buzzer. You know what I'm saying? I feel it itching a little bit, but like I say, man, you can't have a kid without some type of relationship. So with that said, you know what I'm saying, one way to counter that is you turn that filter on. You pass 13. If your daddy Johnny and your mama tricking, by the time they get serious, you'll be ready to come into the world the right way. It won't be nothing premature, because everything be well planned. So if you're in Texas, Miss Cole or whatever, I don't know if you're still on here, call your crazy ass governor and tell them, hey, pass 13, motherfucker. You saying fuck the vaccine, so I'm like, fuck the banning of this shit. So so yeah, that's great. And damn, copyrighted too.
Let's hope that little clip won't hurt me, man.
Okay.
Let's hope. All right. So, and one last comment came from Emosha in Mississippi. And she said, awesome topic and great insight and opinions. Parenting isn't an easy job, but communication, respect, and flexibility as your children grow and evolve is very important. Enjoyed the show. All right. I appreciate her chiming in. So, most people will justify whatever it is they want to do. So it's not like you can tell grown folks much of anything these days. Um, Everyone thinks that they know what they're doing until they don't. And I hope this show has helped some people realize that, your kids are watching you. They watch what you do. And if you want to give them a good example to follow, then, try having a job that you work regularly, show stability in a relationship, read a book, do something educational, go to Sunday school, whatever positive things you can do to show your child on a consistent basis, then please do it, because your kids are watching and they'll soak up the bad habits a lot quicker than the good habits, because most of our bad habits look, like a lot of fun. So that's going to do it for this T2Q. I want to thank my show legends and chat room participants. Be sure to check out next week's show as we discuss how to set boundaries. Until then, you've been checking out the Talk to Q radio show. No experts, just opinions. 10 years still going strong.